What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. Today's episode is going to be brought to you by Mystery Ranch, built for the mission. And if you haven't been rocking a Mystery Ranch Fireline pack for your career, well, that sucks to be you, dog, because they are the most comfortable, the most well-built, and the best damn warranty of fire packs out there in the game, period, hands down. But we all know that. But they make a ton of other stuff. So not only are they known for their epic fire gear, like the legendary Hot Shot pack, but they are also known for things like the TalkBox 5000 for those new 5000 series radios out there. Or check this out, the women's specific pack designs. Yeah, obviously men and women have a different shape. So if you want to get stuff that's built for you, well, you have options with Mystery Ranch. It's pretty cool. Anyways, if you got time, go over to www.mysteryranch.com. And while you're perusing the site looking for that new outdoor gear, well, you might as well check out the Backbone series, because not only are they making the finest damn packs in the game, but they are also giving back to the community. Yeah, they started the Backbone series and the Backbone series scholarship, and basically what that is $1,000 up for grabs for you to pursue your career interests and expand your operational knowledge and get all of that training that the agency may or may not pay for. So you can apply towards that. So you want to get your EMT? Well, hey, submit a story. If you want to go get some falling experience, well, submit your story, because $1,000 is up for grabs for you with the Mystery Ranch Backbone series. Yeah. Anyways, go over to www.mysteryranch.com and check it out. The Anchor Point Podcast is also going to be brought to you by our premier coffee sponsor, and that is going to be none other than Hot Shot Brewery. It's kick-ass coffee for a kick-ass cause, and a portion of the proceeds will always go back to the Wildland Firefighter Foundation. And if you're not into coffee, if you don't drink coffee, which you're probably a monster if you don't, well, they have a ton of other stuff, like all the tools of the trade to get your morning started off right, and a ton of Wildland Firefighter themed apparel. If you want to find out more, go over to www.hotshotbrewing.com and check out their full line of kick-ass coffee, all the tools of the trade to get your morning started off right, and all that kick-ass Wildland Firefighter themed apparel. Like I said, it's a good cause that they support, repping some funds over there for the Wildland Firefighter Foundation. So once again, go over to www.hotshotbrewing.com and check them out. And last but not least, the Anchor Point Podcast is going to be, well, not sponsored by, but supported by. No, not even supported by. How do we present this? Well, I'm a huge supporter of theirs, and I believe in what they're doing. Now, they don't pay me for doing these ads. I just believe in their cause. So, one, go over to www.wildfireexperience.org and check it out. You may possibly know them as the Smoky Generation. What do they do? Well, it is a catalog of wildland firefighting stories dating all the way back to the 1940s. It's like a digital history lesson from our peers in the field and some of those legendary figures that we call superintendents, hotshots, and operators, our peers, all of that stuff. It's all located there at the Wildfire Experience, the American Wildfire Experience, or the Smoky Generation. They're all linked to each other. So go over there, check it out. And while you're at it, check out the Smoky Generation grant program that they are doing, because it is awesome. They're giving away $500 grants to those folks that are telling the story of Wildland Fire. Now, time is limited on this one too. So TikTok, pitter patter, get at her. Anyways, Bethany, you have a kick-ass organization out there. Keep it up.
The views and opinions of this podcast do not reflect the views and opinions of the United States government, the Department of the Interior, the Department of Defense, the Department of Agriculture, the United States Forest Service, the Bureau of Land Management, National Park Service, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, or any private, municipal, county, or state firefighting organization, any law enforcement agency, any medical provider, or any contractor employed by any federal agency.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Anchor Point Podcast. I hope everybody's doing well, and I'd like to start off with begging for your forgiveness and giving you an apology there, I guess, for the lack of episodes that have been coming out. This year has been way up and down, like spikes and valleys of activity, and that is mostly due to the fact that I have a day job that kicks wholesale ass. And we've been having a little bit of issues with the third-party production team that I've been working with for editing my videos that you see on YouTube and the social media content. But we're getting that all cleaned up, and I promise you that there's going to be more episodes episodes coming down the road. But my day job pays the mortgage. Anchor Point, despite what you may or may not think, even though this show is sponsored, it just pays for the infrastructure and it's solvent. However, it does not pay the bills. It just basically keeps itself running. And that's the whole point. Never designed to make money off this thing. So with that, I'd like to apologize. And there'll be more episodes coming out. But the holiday season, I traditionally have always taken a break, and we're getting out of that holiday season and back into the thick of it. So buckle up. We've got a bunch of episodes that are already recorded and on deck. So we'll have a little bit more activity for y'all here soon. So yeah, got to pay the bills. And speaking of my day job kicks ass. And fair disclaimer, I work for the wildfire tech industry for a company called BurnBot. And I know that, scary, big tech. It's not really big tech. It's actually really productive. And it's solving for X now, not 20 years in the future. And I freaking love it. The company that I work for is called BurnBot. I am their business development director, and it kicks wholesale ass. So shameless plug for them. And no, they do not pay me for any content on the podcast. However, they do pay me a salary because I work for them. Yeah. Anyways, it's been busy. You get the idea. It is coming up on fundraiser season, and I am pretty pumped because there are some kick-ass fundraisers on the horizon coming up here soon. First off, we got the Vertical Drop. That's going to be hosted by Silver State Hot Shots and Black Mountain Hot Shots. It's going to be March 23rd. Go check them out. We have next up on the list, we got the Hot Shot Up Volleyball Tournament, and that's going to be April 6th, 2024. And last but not least, we have the Hot Shot Half, going to be on April 20th. So make sure you go over there and support those. And speaking of fundraisers, man, the Hidden Valley Hammer, Cody, my man, talk about an epic fundraiser and one hell of a race, a trail run. And it is, I've ran up there, that trail, quite a handful of times over the course of my fire career. And it is freaking brutal. And this episode actually was recorded shortly after the finishing of the race. And then we all went over to the 395 to do a little additional fundraising afterwards. So Cody, thank you so much. This is awesome. Keep doing what you're doing, man. And shout out to all the people who kicked wholesale ass on that race. We had some absolute beasts over there. And I believe that someone came in, I think the 10K winner came in under 55 minutes, which is hauling wholesale ass. So shout out to all my homies that were there. And Cody, thank you for throwing that fundraiser. It's a hell of an event. Hope everybody can make it next year. Thank you. With that, we've got two very special guests on the show today. We've got two fighters. Yeah, one's a firefighter and one's actually a professional boxer. So we're going to talk all about relationships, what it takes to go the distance, and some tips and tricks that they have learned throughout their relationship that you might be able to pick up on and apply to maybe your relationship, whatever that may look like. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce two of my very good friends, Chase and Sammy Worthington. Welcome to the Anchor Point. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Anchor Point podcast. Today on the show, I've got Chase and Sammy Worthington. What's going on?
What's up?
Not much. Just ran the Hidden Valley Hammer.
Yeah. Feeling pretty hammered right now.
Everybody's just like hamburger right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Cody's running a damn good fundraiser over there. That race is fucking brutal. And yeah, it's awesome. It was a good turnout this year too.
Yeah. We love coming up every year.
We've done it every year. So third year.
Yeah.
It's one of our favorite times of the year. Seriously. Even though we get crushed every year.
There were some like studs over there, man. I was blown away by some of the times, and like I think people are going over there and practicing to run like the trail to try and shave.
So
that's what we were just talking about. We're like, oh, like a lot of these guys are like Silver State, like they're kind of local over here to the area. They're in the elevation. We come over here and they're just like smoking us.
Yep.
Just going to town. Yeah. Everybody's just ripping up that hill. Cause like, I think the men's first place division winner for the 10K this year was like, he was sub 55 minutes.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I'm too far back.
Yeah, we just didn't see him.
Yeah.
We saw him at the start, then never again.
This dude is a ghost. He's just gone.
Yep.
Shout out to the winners, man. They're pretty badass.
Seriously. I know. Yeah.
It's good fundraisers, getting better every year. So in fact, you guys can't make it to the after party, huh? Because we're doing like a little break here and
yeah.
We gotta
We
Drive
normally do, but yeah, this kind of push it
back over the hill.
Yeah, I got to get back home.
At least it wasn't like going to snow or be like shitty and raining.
I know.
Yeah, I was looking at the weather.
We didn't know.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the
Hot.
forecast
It was
earlier
actually
this
really
week.
hot. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like what, 80 degrees out? It seems like.
Something.
We got sun for sure.
Oh, 100%. But I was looking at the weather earlier this week, and it was scheduled for like rain, shitty snow, wind, and I was like, don't. Yes, and we made it. So
Mhm.
most
Yep.
of these storms coming in Monday or something like that. So
Yeah, they can come now. So
Yeah.
yeah,
made it through.
right on. Well, tell us about yourselves. You guys do paper, rock, scissors to see whoever goes first. Yeah.
You go.
We
You
did-
go first.
All
Save the
right.
best for last.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the shit talking ensues.
Yeah, Chase Worthington. Been in fire. This was my 6th season. Just got the squad leader promotion with
Nice,
Folsom
man.
Lake Veterans Crew. Got a degree in Homeland Security that I'm not using. I was in the Navy before all that. Came out 2018, first summer of fire. Came on late. Didn't get to do any of the training with the crew or anything. Literally left for a fire 2-3 days later.
Yeah, something like that.
Just brand new boots, feet are bleeding all over the place.
Just
Pa-
zero prep.
Yes, the Pawnee fire. I remember it clear as day. And we're spiked out. Of course, we're spiking out. Like, this is my first experience. And I'm texting Samantha. I'm like, there's no way I can do this. Like,
He just texts,
Yeah.
just pray really hard. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, it was
what
one
is
of those
happening?
texts.
yes,
Yes.
I just remember Rambier Lally, my squad leader. He kind of walks by. I'm getting my sleeping stuff set up. He's like, Corn, you better be here in the morning. That's a whole nother thing, my nickname Corn.
You went there, man. You
Yeah.
got to explain that next.
I will. And anyways, if we weren't spiked out on this ridge top in the middle of nowhere, I probably wouldn't have been there in the morning. But woke up, cranked down on my boots the next morning, and didn't have any more problems after that. Like, I don't know what it was, but those first couple days were torture. Been in love with it ever since. We got married 3 days ago. Or not 3 years.
years.
3 days ago, I was about to say.
Wait a second. I mean, if it feels like 3 days
It
ago,
does.
maybe that's sweet.
3 years ago, and I brought her out here to California, and
Yeah.
living the life now,
Yes.
Nice.
trying to live.
Yeah. Just
Trying to-
surviving.
Surviving.
In inflation-ridden, very expensive cost of living California.
But we love it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we think it's worth it for us
Oh, for
at
sure.
the moment.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
It's a big country. You guys can move anywhere you want.
Yeah.
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 And luckily with fire and my profession. So my profession is professional boxer. So I will go into that in a second, but we can kind of go wherever, which is the beautiful thing of it. And it's super cool that we were dating when he got into fire.
Yeah.
So like I've been with him in this journey from the beginning, like getting that text and all of the
Please
like
pray for me.
crap, and, the ugly side. And then, just, it's been really cool how the Lord has brought us closer in that, like leaning on each other. Cause it's an interesting dynamic to be with a wildland firefighter, but then also I'm sure you feel the same way being with a professional boxer,
Yes.
especially as a female.
We
like you
talk
don't
about it.
need a lot of those. So yeah, I started boxing when I was 12. Very reluctantly. My brother is 4.5 years younger than me. He started boxing because he fell in love with the Rocky movies at 6.
You gotta love the classics, man.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
seriously, that is a staple in my household. You have to like the Rocky movies or you're out. But my parents were like, there's no boxing for kids. Like, I don't know. You'll just have to hit things around the house. And then
Go punch dad.
where's your sister? And then my dad got connected with our first coach. My dad's a pastor and they just met at a pastor's luncheon, like super random.
Nice.
And they were talking about ministries that they did outside of their church. And he mentioned having a boxing gym. And my dad was like, can I bring my son? He's only 6, but he would love to just check out the gym. And the coach was like, well, he can't actually start fighting until he's 8, but he can start training now. And my dad was like, whoa. Let's just see how it goes. Like, he's 6. And Thomas went 18 rounds the first day.
Holy crap.
Like, just a natural at hitting things, if one can be. And so he started boxing. I was in and out of the gym, just watching him and supporting him. And my parents were like, you're here all the time. Like, why don't you just use it as conditioning for your other sports? I played conventional sports like soccer, basketball, softball. It's like, oh, okay, this seems really stupid, but we'll try. We're hitting the air. I'm like, why? Why are we doing this?
Why are we doing
this? This is so stupid. But then fast forward to when I actually kind of got into training, and I'm like, well, I might as well try to see if I'm any good at this. So I'm sparring this guy. I got no other girls in the gym. We're just using one hand. And I'm like, okay, well, this getting hit thing isn't fun, but I can handle it. And then I hit him for the first time and his head snapped back and his eyes got big. He goes, oh, shoot. I've been hooked ever since. So now, almost 16 years later, I'm a pro. I'm 4-0 with 3 knockouts and just have a lot of dreams that the Lord has given me and a purpose for why I box. And so I'm really looking forward to stepping into that and what's coming up. We're actually leaving for Colombia for another fight in
Round 2 in Colombia.
Round 2. Yeah. We just got back a couple weeks ago. So we're going again and leaving in a little over a week. So next Monday, we'll head out there again. I feel like we're going to be bilingual by the end of the year. Maybe.
You will.
Yeah.
Duolingo at night. It's just like chiming while I'm trying to go to sleep.
Just.
Yep. Always.
Oh, man. All right, dude, it's bugging me. What's up with the corn?
The corn.
I was about to say, go back.
I gotta hear this.
Show up late, and obviously everyone's been doing their basic training. Everyone knows each other, the crew. They're all friends now. And this new guy shows up.
Here's the FNG.
Yeah. Where were we? We're Pine Hill Preserve or somewhere, just doing some project cutting, just making some piles. And I wasn't there, but there were 2 other guys that were like, hey, what's the new guy's name? And they're like going through all the C names. And I think it was Dan or Trevor. And they were like, oh, his name's Cornelius.
Oh, shit.
And for some reason that just stuck. They're like, yeah, it's definitely Cornelius.
And it just devolved from there.
And then it just went to Corn. To Cornelius is super long. So then everyone started calling me Corn. I was just like, okay.
Okay,
like,
continue the evolution.
You don't get a say in your nickname.
No.
There's more to that.
And then
typically they're earned too. So
yeah,
I was
you
just the new
came
guy.
on late.
Yeah, that's all it was. And then from there, it evolved even more because Folsom Lake, we're just type 2 IA. I guess other people in fire, like I don't know how common it is. They don't know the different types of resources, but they're always just like, oh, Folsom Lake Hot Shots, Folsom Lake Hot Shots.
Yeah.
Over the radio. And Ranbeer Lally again, he was just like, man, we're not hot shots. Like they might as well just call us Folsom Lake Hot Dogs.
Oh shit.
So that stuck, like just inner crew, like, well, hey, we're Folsom Lake Hot Dogs. Like we're going to have fun with it. And Corn, they're like, oh, well, you're Corn Dog now.
Oh,
like
shit.
you're not even Hot Dog. Yep. You're Corn Dog. I was just like, okay, whatever.
The saga continues.
Yeah.
Yes.
It just keeps going.
Yeah. He gets introduced to people as Corn.
Yeah.
Like, do you know his actual name? Or what?
Yeah.
Just Corn.
Landon, the guy you met here at Hidden Valley,
Yeah.
Oh, so much we could say about Landon.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Our first place here in California was a gated neighborhood. And so I flew home after the crew party in 2020 to go get married. Like left all my stuff here. We get married.
5 days later, we're
We're driving out here.
Oh shit, that's a quick turnaround.
With the 90-pound German Shepherd in the middle.
And
yeehaw.
Yeah.
Landon he's like, oh, like I'm going to give him a wedding gift. And
please tell me it was a Costco pack of corn dogs.
It was toilet paper. So, close.
It was COVID. It was toilet paper. He had a big pack.
Yeah.
But it's a gated neighborhood. And like, he didn't want to call us and be like, hey, like I'm getting you guys a gift. Like let the gate know. Like,
also, I think we were getting married that day or something. Like it was like.
It was.
Yeah.
It was our wedding day.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
I forgot where I was even going with this story.
He gets to the gate.
Oh yeah. And they don't let him in.
They're just like hard no.
They're like, yeah, you're not on the list. They're like, what's like, who's the resident? Like, who do you know? And he's just like,
He couldn't remember.
it's like, oh man.
Your Instagram name was also Chester, I think.
Yeah. And that threw him off.
So not even his name on
And
Instagram.
he was like, I think corn. He told the lady corn. I was like, shit, that's-
You know that's not my name.
anyway, she turned him around and we actually never got the toilet paper.
Yeah, he
so-
drove from like Elk Grove.
Elk Grove all the way up to
all the way to
About to
Cole.
say.
It's
California.
like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good distance.
Yeah.
Like Cool's like, it's not the middle of nowhere, but it's like down a lot of windy ass
Yeah.
roads and stuff.
It's
Was it
kind of in the middle of nowhere, actually.
Yeah.
49.
49.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd be more bummed about not getting the toilet paper. That money was
I know.
that was practically a currency back in COVID.
Yeah. So speaking of cool, going from we are from a city in Kentucky. So that's where we're originally from, is Kentucky. And I'm just like, okay, like we're getting married. I don't want to be apart from you. Let's go. I visited one time, but I didn't have any knowledge of like where I was really. Like I was disoriented. I was just like, oh, this is California. Like, cool, whatever. Yeah. And he's like, I found this place on Craigslist. And it ended up being fine. Like, no
This is fine.
Craigslist killer or anything.
I mean, it was the middle of fire season. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
like-
Yeah,
He
beggars can't
literally,
be choosers.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure you found it on a fire.
I was.
And
yeah.
the landlord's calling me in Kentucky, and I'm like, yeah, sure. Like that sounds great. I don't know I'm 2,000 miles away. And so I'd never been to the place at all. I'd seen pictures, and you had like FaceTimed me, I think, because you had stayed there a couple of days before you flew back.
Just my sleeping bag after a roll.
Yeah, you had no utensils, and they didn't give you utensils when you got takeout. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, it was
Like digging through your pack for like an MRE spoon.
yeah, right. So then we pull up to our neighborhood, and I'm like, this is where we're living now. Like, Cool is, I think, 2,000 people.
It's pretty
Lexington
small.
is like, what, a couple 100,000 or just under, like 150 or something. There's a
Bigger.
lot
It's
of people in Lexington. It's a bigger city. And so major culture shock. There's not even a stoplight
Oh,
in
yeah.
Cool, like just a sign. And,
Just
like,
fields, Oak
what?
Savannah.
And then like a week later, we experienced a blackout. And my mom's like, did he move you to a third world country?
No, it's
We're-
just middle of nowhere.
Yep. And in California, and they experienced blackouts apparently. So, yep, that was interesting. We were like getting the Jet Bowl out and like cooking our MRE like mountain meals. And I'm like, what is this life now? But like you said, we love it now. I'm adjusted, but
Well, we're not there anymore. We're in Folsom.
oh
now.
yeah, we're not in
so-
Cool. But even still, like
Yeah.
I adjusted to Cool, but now we're in the city. So
The city, the big city of
Yeah.
Folsom,
Yeah,
the
big
suburbs of
city.
Sacramento.
Right. Yeah. But at least we have civilization around us.
Yeah. There's like
So-
there's like an In-N-Out burger. That's nice. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Folsom has so much.
I don't
like-
know if I should say it since he brought
Oh,
up
no.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Don't. Do
Hot
you think?
take.
Okay, hot take. Let's go.
We're not big fans of
We're
In-N-Out.
not.
Okay,
I
we
know.
like it, but like I don't understand the hype.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, that's the thing. But we love Chick-fil-A. And a lot of people that we met out here are like,
Dude,
That's your-
Chick-fil-A? Oh
okay,
yeah,
thank
I'm
you.
into it. I'm into
Thank
it.
you.
Spicy chicken
The
all day.
Lord's chicken?
Was it?
Like-
Yeah, the Lord's chicken.
Yes.
They didn't even open on Sundays.
Right. We need to get it on the way home
True.
for tomorrow.
There you go. There's one in Reno.
I know we passed it.
Uh-huh. Look, he's like, so you're scoping it out.
Right,
Like,
right.
get the
It's
lay
like-
of the land.
That's literally what we do for all big events, like anniversary, Chick-fil-A. Valentine's Day, Chick-fil-A. My birthday's Wednesday, Chick-fil-A.
Nice.
Yeah.
Keeps it easy.
Tradition.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Nice. So the reason why I want to do two so bad on the podcast is because you're both fighters, right? So you fight
Mhm.
fire, you fight people
Yes.
professionally. You fight Mother Nature, you throw on gloves and beat the shit out of people. So,
Yes.
but it's cool because you guys have a very unique relationship. I've been following your two stories for, I don't know, 4 years or so, ever since you guys got together. And yeah, it's a cool evolution to see that. And I was just like, there's a lot of lessons I think that could be learned out of your guys' relationship and like how you have to do the whole travel thing, because you're all over the place. You're all over the place, particularly in the summer, but you guys are still making it work. And that's something very unique. And I could imagine how hard it is, but you guys make it work. So what's your secrets?
I have a lot to say.
I know you do.
Uh-oh.
Do you want to go first if you have anything?
I was just going to say we love each other very much.
Yes. Love's what
And,
keeps us
Like,
together.
we're best friends. Like,
I think
it is hard, but it's also very easy.
so. I think it's all about perspective, because when we first, like I said, I've been with him since he started Fire. So I experienced for the first 3 years of Fire, I stay in Kentucky, you're gone in California for 6 months. So like we were apart for half of our engagement. Like I planned the wedding by myself and did all that. So that was,
I wanted to help.
he did.
Yeah, but how? You're in the middle of BFE
But
with no
right.
cell
That's
phone
true,
service.
but he wasn't the typical man where it's like, you do everything. Like he actually wanted to help, but
Yeah.
circumstances. But I think for us, it's viewing the time apart as a time to like long for each other more. And instead of, oh, out of sight, out of mind, like you're not here. So like, I'm going to focus on what I have going on in front of me. And that doesn't negate challenges. Like it's definitely hard. One of the main challenges, I think, for people in Fire and then like the family that stays home is life doesn't stop when you
it does
guys
not.
leave, and that was one thing that was hard for both of us. And it was a challenge that was actually cool to walk through together. Again, it's all about perspective, like not looking at the challenge as, oh shoot, I want to get out, but looking at it as, okay, how can we get through this together and allow it to bring us closer together? But that was one where I was like, okay, hey Chase, I have a routine down and like, you can't come in and expect me to just like stop everything. But that was more so me. I think I wanted to just like quit life when you came home and
I
like,
could take a break.
yeah, like
Just flat back
I'm
and on the
gonna call
couch for
in
a while.
work every 2 weeks. Like that's not
You wouldn't do that.
realistic. But then like the same thing, like if he needed something from me, it's like, well, like emotionally or whatever. And vice versa. It's like, okay, we have to understand where the other person is at, like in that season. And same thing for you when I'm training for fights, like it's not the same by any means, but it can be similar. Whereas you're like hyper focused, like, when you're on a fire and you have time, like he has time to call or whatever. And I'm trying to vent about my day or whatever. And I'm expecting him to be that like emotional support, but it's like, he's just dealt with whatever, that happened that day.
You're getting your dick kicked in on the side of a hill
for
somewhere.
sure.
Yeah.
Like, for hours and hours. And
And she's like yelling, why aren't you listening?
that is
Because I'm
not
falling asleep. I'm
true.
exhausted.
But
That's
that
exactly
can
it.
happen. But that
yeah.
can happen, where I'm like, well, I need you to be this person for me. But it's same dynamic with like fight camps and stuff. Like right now, like I'm about to fight in a little less than 2 weeks. And so I can be a little bit irritable. And so it's just about, I know.
It's not that bad. I'm kind of used to it, but it's kind of like the same thing. Like I'll come home and like it's off season now. I'm like, like let's go get some ice cream. Let's like
Right,
let's
yeah,
chill,
that-
watch a movie.
Uh-huh.
Let's
And now
go out
you're
to
on a
dinner.
strict diet.
And she's like,
Yes.
no. I'm just like,
It's so odd
Oh, yeah.
because now it's like, okay, there's fire season and then there's heat season because, my ring name is the Heat. So it's like, okay, now it's my season and the dynamics are very similar. Like I said, not the same by any means, but it can be similar like emotionally and stuff. And so it's interesting. It's difficult, but it has really brought us it brought us together. That's it sounds super cliche, but it has allowed us to grow so much as a couple and individually. But it goes back to, we view it as a chance to grow closer together than further apart, because a lot of people that I've talked to, like I'm involved in this support group on Facebook with the fire wives and partners. And there will be times where people will post on there the opposite. Like, I don't know if this is for me. Like, and I've said those things before too, because it's just hard. Like, did the Lord create me to do this? I don't know. But then I go back to yes, because I chose Chase and I'm going to always choose Chase. Always. Like he is my person. And so hearing like those stories about people viewing it as a thing that can bring you further apart, I think it just goes back to, okay, well, wait a second. Like, why did you choose that person in the beginning? Like, go back to that. And I've always said, even when I struggle, which is a lot, missing him, that he's 100% worth it. Like you said in the beginning, always, hands down.
You did have a lot to say.
I know. I just feel so passionate.
She's the talker, so.
But I feel so passionate about this because it is it can be such an issue, you know, like even regardless of my profession, just being with a wildland firefighter is so hard. Like, it is not for the weak. It is not for the faint of heart. It's even different than like dating somebody or being with married to someone in the military. Like, again, it can be similar, but it's even different than that. Like, the culture is different. And so it's just something that I because I love Chase, obviously, but I feel so passionate about that because the divorce rate is so high, and I don't think that it should be. Like, if we could just have, I don't know, more support in this and like more conversations like this, where it's like, okay, this is not necessarily our secret, but like, this is something that helps us. And like, how can we help you get to this place, you know?
Yeah.
Because again, we struggle. Like, we don't not
Every
struggle.
couple does.
Right. For sure.
It's just part of the gig.
For sure.
Yeah.
But you know, especially for the dynamic of missing each other for so long, and it's not just for one deployment. It's every year we deal with, you know, fire season always comes back around. And I think that's what the looming fire season can be hard. Cause it's like, okay, I have you, I feel like, for this, however many more months we have. But then come January, I'm like, fire season's here. Because it's going to be here in, you know, a few months, even though I lose him about May, June, but it's like, dang, just that constant looming. But it's like, no, it is allowed us to cherish our time that we have together so much more, even though it's so hard. I tell you that all the time when we're apart. Like, I miss you. My heart aches physically so much, but I am so excited to be back with you. And it makes our time so much more special.
The homecomings are really like, it doesn't like, oh, like we're just coming back from another 2-week assignment. Like every single time, like we make it a point to like really come together. Like,
yeah, like celebrate that time.
Yeah.
Like,
you
we're
know,
back together, you know, like
Make the moment intimate. Not like sexually intimate, but like intimate, like
too,
as
you know.
well, there's that too, but very important to a relationship, obviously. But
that's the secret.
Like
That's the secret.
just great sex all the time.
Yep.
But I think that intimacy of like actual true connection, like being very present and in the moment, I think it's a very powerful thing, or else people wouldn't fall in love with each other, right?
Right.
And so
I
they
think,
redo that all the time.
Yeah. And for us, we've been blessed with, and not always have we been blessed with people like this, but as of now, we're blessed with people that understand that too. Like, I have to cancel because Chase is coming home. Like, because, you know, fire season is unpredictable. So I can't just be like, oh, you're going to be home on this date, this date, this date. Like, you never know.
Don't work like that, homie.
No. And fire season always crushes my hopes and dreams. Always.
Never
like,
make plans.
Never.
Yeah.
It's the worst. But we, like, our friends understand, like, okay, yeah, you need to be with Chase, or, you know, vice versa. Like, if I made any plans apart from Chase, like with my people, it's like, okay, no, you need to go home. Like, I get it, or whatever. So that, I think that's important too, like having a community, and not necessarily these people are not in fire. So I'm not saying that you have to be like your whole life had to surround with the fire community. I mean, that's also a beautiful thing, but just having people that get it, like, okay, I might not really understand because I don't have anyone, like I don't have a loved one in that community, but I get that you need to be with your husband.
I think just like any support system at all.
Oh yeah. Because even I was just thinking, like, even our family doesn't get exactly what he does. And
yeah, they probably think that you're a smoke jumper or you work for CAL FIRE. That's like the stereotypical
CAL
responses.
FIRE. Every
or
time.
that he's on every big fire that's on TV.
Yeah.
Oh, did Chase fight that fire? No.
How many
There's
times did you go
50,000 of
Why
us at
not?
any given time.
Right?
You know,
Like, why isn't he on that fire? Well, because they have other resources besides Chase's crew, but okay.
yeah,
And
man.
it is like different between like she said, like when we were dating, we would just say the one goodbye.
Yeah, I would stay in Kentucky. And so it'd be, I
And
know
then
I'm
I'm
going to
gone
see
for
him
6
around October.
But then getting married and bringing her out here, this was awesome for me. Like we were like 20 minutes from the station, get off work, come home. My wife's there. Like she can make dinner. Like we can hang out. Super sick. But for her, it was like, oh, I have to say goodbye over and over and
so
over
many
again.
times.
And just like trying to work through that and just
And
how,
then getting my hopes up, like, oh, he's home.
yeah.
But for how long? Like,
Yeah.
you know, and not trying to get my hopes. I get my hopes up every time. Like I tell him, like, I'm not going to get my hopes up this time. They're up.
We both do.
Always. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
That optimism, though, it's like it's necessity, right?
I was about to say,
You
I
have to
think-
be optimistic about it.
I think that's a good thing. Like I tell people, because again, in that group and like other fire wives and spouses and partners that I've talked to, like they always say like, oh, it'll get easier. But I always tell them I don't want it to get easier. Like I want to miss him this much every time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, do I want to be able to maybe deal with it a little better sometimes and not get so emotional maybe, or, you know, whatever, maybe. But like, I want to always feel this ache and like this missing piece.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was an interesting transition coming out here. And then I thought it was going to be great too. I was like, oh, I'm going to see him all throughout the fire season. And
Think again.
it was, number one, think again, because
I get to come home. I don't have to cook a frozen pizza every night.
and then
I'll
I'm
come-
like, wait, I
My
have
wife will cook the frozen pizza for me.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Right. And
I
then
just
I'm like,
I cut
wait a
off
second,
like
I have to
2
cook
minutes.
for 2 people now when I was just for 2 weeks cooking for one person, which again, all things that are good and like positive,
Yeah.
but also most of us are creatures of habit and routine. And as an athlete, I for sure am. And I need to be. So it's like, you are ruining my routine right now. Like I couldn't get any like footing. I couldn't get my footing at all, any traction or anything, no momentum. And so, and also we don't have any family out here. So speaking of support system, that first season was one of the worst seasons in California. Like you were gone all the time.
Yeah.
Like I thought we had moved to the apocalypse because it was just red.
Just red skies
Yes.
for 8 months out of the year.
Smoke. I'm like, what is happening? And then it's been kind of mild the past 2 years. So
It's because everything already burned.
it all burned that first year.
Jeez.
So that was interesting. But yeah, it was a lot harder than I realized that it was going to be, to say bye so many times. And then how do I get into a routine when he's going to come? And it's not his fault. That's just the dynamic. It's like, okay, he comes.
You're
How do I
recording this, right?
I am.
Okay.
You're on
Oh,
record.
Shut up. I don't blame you.
You're going to replay this one day and be like, ha, see, you said it.
You said it. But yeah, that was hard. And I don't even know, again, I don't have like a formula for how I even like got past that. But I think actually the main thing was the support system, like just having people around me and building a community. And that's when you move anywhere new, but specifically when you don't have family and you don't have your person around so often.
It's hard.
It's so hard. And so, yeah, we immediately got plugged in with the church. And now that we're in Folsom, we, got plugged in with the church around us. And so that's been really big to have community in that way. But even like, getting your work community and like just having those people to, hey, I'm not feeling like being a person right now. Like, I just need you to let me be, or vice versa. Like, okay, I need people around me, like come and help me lift me up and get me out of this. That was huge for me, for sure.
Yeah. You mentioned something earlier, and that is creatures of habit and how we're kind of stuck to routine and very disciplined. I mean, both of you don't have a choice. I mean, I'm sure you're just as much as a creature of habit and like have the same discipline that she does, but it's just in a different context, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like
100%.
you have to rely on knowing where your shit is at all times. Like one of the things that like used to drive me nuts is like something will be missing. It's like not put back, like tools specifically.
Dude.
There you go. And it just drive me fucking nuts. Cause like, it's like, well, I'm just like so into work brain mode. Like I know where all the critical tools are. I know where the stuff is. I know where this, that, and the other things are. I know where my shit is. Right. Cause I depended on it. It's just like you do, you know? And it's hard, man. Cause like you, on the other hand, like, hey, I've got to do this cut for weight. I got to make this for a diet. It's like the same thing, just different context.
Yes.
So how do you guys navigate that one? I got an extra pair of gloves if you guys want.
That's how we navigate it. I'm just kidding.
I think it actually works out pretty well. Just like our personalities, because my habits are, I don't want to put you on the spot, being like clean and organized.
Oh my gosh.
No, not that she's not, but like I wake up, like I want to make the bed, like I want to have a clean house, but like she's in training camp. Like she's not worried about any of that stuff.
I get up, brush my teeth, run, or, you know, go work
she
out or
needs
whatever.
to prep her meals, like has to be at the gym. She has to be running. Like all that's just little extra things that she doesn't need to worry about. Like that's just an extra stressor to her. But for me, like those things kind of relieve my stress. Like those are my habits that I enjoy doing. So
you enjoy like helping out. It's like you're getting satisfaction out of it by like contributing to her success. Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to, this is going to sound like, I don't know, old school maybe. And I don't mean for it to, but these are just the roles that we play. Like I cook dinner, like I make the meals and stuff. And I'm not saying all women have to do that, but like, it's just what we are dynamic, and that serves him.
Yeah.
And so goes back to kind of what you were just saying. That's how he serves me and helps me be successful. And then same for him. Like when he gets home from a fire or whatever, and he doesn't, like he said, doesn't want to make that frozen pizza or whatever, I always make it a point to like, we're going to make breakfast. Like I'm going to do this for you because I haven't gotten a chance to like serve you in this way and love you in this way. And I was just thinking about last summer, I fought last August. So I was finishing up a training camp in the middle of fire season. And like, that was hard because I was missing that. And you don't really even fully, I think, understand what your partner brings to the table until you don't have it. Like, yeah, you know, and like you're grateful, but you might not be like fully aware. I was definitely fully aware last like July and August finishing. I was just like, Chase, we're never doing a training camp apart.
Oh man.
And then we did on accident, but that's a whole other thing. Just life happened.
Oh, January.
Yeah. January.
That was on you.
It was.
I told you not.
I know. Anyways, you live and you learn.
Yeah.
But that made me so grateful for that, what Chase does. And I still feel that when I'm not in training camp, because like when you're missing, you almost go through like this grieving period when you miss each other. And Chase kind of has the distraction of actual fire and like work and stuff.
Not getting nailed by a tree or something.
Right.
You know?
Like you can't really, I mean, he definitely misses me, but like you can't think about it all the time. Whereas I think about it all the time. Like I'm just thinking about, oh, Chase could be here. Or like, even when I go and do something fun, I'm like, it's not as fun as it would be with Chase. Like I grieve the memories that we can make together. But so I feel.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes, you can.
I do always like, no matter how hectic it is out on the line, like I will check my phone. And like, if I have like just enough service, like just real quick, I always send just.
Oh yeah. That's another thing you do.
Hey, I love you. Like just so she knows that I am thinking about her.
The little shit.
That's a huge discipline that you do well. Yeah. Because that's something that we hold on to. Like I know the whole saying is, you know, no news is good news, but it still sucks not having news.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make it suck any less. I mean,
right. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, we usually do try to do a phone call, but most of the time I'm just like, yo, like I'm going to bed. Like,
right. He has no energy to do that.
Yeah.
So like just trying to do that when I can throughout the day or the
people
assignment.
are sleeping or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's not always, and I know that you don't have service always, but it's just like finding the little pockets of service where it's like you literally have one bar and it's just one text. Like, even if it's just love you, like that is enough for him. It's like, okay, he's okay. Everything's fine. And so I do like, that's huge that you do that.
It's usually, hey, love you, getting my dick beat.
Yep.
Talk later.
This sucks.
Yeah.
Love you.
Yep.
Night.
A lot. That's a lot of the texts, or like send nudes later.
Ooh, we're getting spicy. We have to
It's
put
a lot of the, which that's another thing that you just find like ways to still like love on each other and like fulfill that need. Cause when you're out there, you can't fulfill that need. Like, and I can't fulfill that need for you. And I don't have anybody to fulfill, like you can't fulfill that need for me, but it's just like, okay, I'm gonna, even if I'm not comfortable doing that or whatever, like we make sacrifices for each other in that way. Yeah. So that's another thing that you have to, it's not just like, okay, I love you or whatever. It's like, okay, whenever I can, I'm going to gift him with this or gift him with that, or like do
try
a little bit of
something
sexy
new.
talk. Yeah. Or whatever. Like that's been huge for us. I'm
You're
just going to
putting
say
it all out there.
I'm just saying like this stuff
But
needs to be talked
Giggity.
about.
There's
it needs to be talked about
there's no reason why we like,
because I know.
This is like, this is normal human being
Everyone does
relationship.
it.
Everybody
Yes.
does this
Yeah.
stuff, right? So why the fuck aren't we talking about
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. And that's another thing I feel passionate about. It's like, okay, these are maybe like risque topics or whatever, but it's like, that's the reason a lot of the times, the reasons why people fall out of love. I hate when people say that, or like just get complacent basically. And they stop putting forth effort and choosing the other person, is because we're not talking about these things. Like these are ways that you can bring us, keep the spark alive, quote unquote, or like bring it back. Cause sometimes it dims way down. Like it's not there, but you can always revive that. And it's just about putting forth the effort. And I feel super passionate about it, not just because I'm in a relationship like this, but because I see like talking to other partners and spouses and like seeing what's posted on the Facebook group. It's like so heartbreaking because it's like your partner is not putting forth the effort, because it can be on the Wildland firefighters. Like Chase, he puts forth so much effort, even when he is super tired and like really has nothing to give. He gives me that last little bit of himself to help me. But then it's also like the partners too. We can't just play the victim all the time.
Ooh,
you know,
bingo. That's
like
a good
that's
one.
a huge issue. And one that I've struggled with. Like complaining to Chase, like, you're not being this for me, or you're not, but I have to take a step back and
You
understand.
gotta get that shit off your chest too.
Mhm.
I mean,
Well, and that is right. And
just like he does.
Chase has been great about being super patient and just like letting me vent sometimes. But then I also have to be understanding and know that he might not give me back what I'm looking for, like that emotional part that I'm seeking. But at least I, like you said, get it off my chest and know that he really is wanting to give me that. But it's just, that's where he is right now in his space. It's just understanding that part of the lifestyle. It's like, okay, there are certain times where Chase is going to give me this part of himself, and sometimes I'm going to have to bring up that other percentage, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it boils down to being 100%. We're not, I also don't like, but I say it sometimes, so I'm not judging people that say it, but like, you're my better half. But really, we're both 100% of a person.
Mhm.
It's 100%, 100%. And so when because you're not 100% all the time, but I can give him some of mine.
Yeah.
And instead of being 50-50, if we were just 50% of a person and I go down, I'm at 30%. And like, you have to give me 20%. Now you're at 30%. But when we are two whole people coming together, that's different.
Oh yeah.
So then I can give him a little bit of myself to build him up, and vice versa. So I don't think that boils down to, Chase and I we definitely were meant to be, but it's not just like, okay, you were always from the beginning of time supposed to be with me. That can be any person. It's just about choosing that person that you have chosen to be with.
Prioritizing them.
Working on yourself.
I always heard that, like, oh, how have you been married so long and happy? Like, oh, I choose them every day. And like, you don't really think about it.
Yeah. Well, you don't
too much.
understand it. Yeah.
And you definitely don't understand it until you get married.
Yeah.
But like, you really do wake up and choose that person every day.
Yes. Right. Yeah. And it never stops. Like, yes, we chose each other October 4th, 2020. Like when we said I do.
Send us anniversary gifts. Shameless plug.
Your wedding register's still open, right? I can replace that toilet paper for you guys.
But it's like, there have been multiple times, and we've had the best 3 years of our lives. Like whenever we hear our friends be like, oh, marriage is such hard work, we're like, really? Because it's just super easy. But I mean, there's still like little things, where you're upset or annoyed or whatever.
Pissed off from work, etc.
Right. Yeah. Just life. And again, it goes back to perspective, because sometimes people might view those things as that's what's the hard work for them.
Yeah, but that's like really, if you boil it down, it's like the day-to-day life shit that really,
yes,
you're bitching about minor inconveniences of life.
Right. And I remember there was one time recently where I can't even, it's one of those, you can't even remember what you were bickering about, but we just look at each other and start busting out laughing. Like it was just one of those where it's like,
this is fucking ridiculous. What are we even doing here?
And it was,
I don't remember, but because I took Goose out on a walk. Because me, like the little things, I'm just like, I can just brush them under the rug. Like, does not bother me. Because I'm still going to choose her. Like, whatever it is, like, I'm not going to stay mad.
I'm the emotional one. I hold the grudge.
She is going to hold a grudge and stay mad. Take Goose out on a walk around the apartment complex. I come back in and she just happens to be right there at the front door.
Like as soon as you open the door.
And we just like eye contact and just burst out laughing.
Yeah,
like, why are we mad at each other?
What are we even like bitching about right now?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here?
That was the conflict resolution right there.
Done. Under the rug. Done.
Yeah.
I think
Not always is it like that, but
yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes, it's just part of life. Like everybody has conflict, but having putting in the effort, which I think is a major underlying factor in your success as a couple, is the amount of effort that you're dedicating to each other. Right.
Yeah.
So putting the same amount of effort into your day-to-day stuff, or I love you this, or the date night or whatever, is equally as important to put into conflict resolution as well. Because if you can't like put in the effort, then what's the fucking point?
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. What are we doing?
The
whole 100% thing.
Hard for me when we got, because like I said, like the little things like I don't worry about, and I would just like shrug them off. But like the normal, like toxic masculinity, not talking about my feelings, like she'll force me to talk about my feelings. I'm like, oh, like
just pry it out of you.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
But it also, she gets to like talk back to me and I can listen.
Yeah.
And it really, like, that two-way communication, like you cannot beat that.
And I think it also is like not going into a marriage or a relationship like this expecting the person to just know everything that you're thinking, you're feeling, know how to love you 100% correctly. And like we did premarital counseling and everything. Like we went over our expectations, and highly recommend that. He thought it was super dumb at first, and then now
I'd probably be on your side too, but
he was like, why are we doing this? Like, we don't have problems. 100% worth it.
Still don't know what our love languages are, but
sounds like acts of service for both of you. Just, outside looking in here.
Yeah. And words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, he knows my love languages, guys.
Daw.
But like we went over it because it's not it's called premarital counseling, but you're not counseling issues. It's pre-marital counseling. Like you're counseling issues that could come up. So it's like, okay, what are your expectations that you don't even think about financially? Have you talked about, are you going to have a joint account? Who's going to pay the bills? Who's going to be, are you both going to do finances? Or, what does that look like? Do you want kids? And things you would think that you've talked about, but like sometimes you haven't.
Yeah.
Or how are you going to parent? How are you raised? And that was something that was like eye-opening for both of us. We'd been together for 3 years or 2?
Yeah.
3 years by the time we got married, I think. Or 2.5 or whatever. And so we'd been together like a long time, seemingly dating, and had thought we had gotten to know each other fairly well. But then going through those expectations, like, oh, that's what you thought. Like, I remember, we're going to go
Or
back
like-
to sex because apparently that's what I like to talk about. But, but one of the things that was interesting was one of the questions was like, how often do you think that you are going to have sex per week?
Every day.
And I
Twice a day.
no, that's what I
her.
put. I put like 5 to 6 times a week. And Chase is like 3 to 4, whatever you said. I don't know. It wasn't that
something
far off.
moderate. Like,
It wasn't that far off, but it was realistic. And that's Chase. Very realistic.
Very grounded.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I am a visionary. I dream.
She was like,
and I'm
"What?"
big. I'm like, what? You're not going to want me every single second of every day? And now looking back, I'm like, thank God that you don't want me every single second of every day.
Yeah.
So it's just like interesting things that you like think, oh yeah, that's what marriage is going to be, but that's not.
holidays and family.
Oh yeah,
that was it.
traditions.
Yeah.
Like, and
She wanted, it was Thanksgiving at her family's, Christmas at her family's,
'cause we
Labor
do
Day at her
holidays
family's,
huge.
Easter, like everything.
And
I was-
his family doesn't do holidays huge. So I was like, oh, well, like he'll definitely give me all the holidays. But it's about, number one, compromise. But going back to the original point, like not expecting your spouse to be exactly what you in your mind think a husband or a wife should be.
Yeah.
In knowing that they're going to be growing just like you are. And that for me, what marriage has showed me is all the flaws in me, like not in Chase. It hasn't highlighted like, oh, there are things that I didn't know. I mean, I've learned a lot about Chase for sure, but I've learned for me, I'm like, dang, I'm not emotionally intelligent as I thought. Like, you know, like I'm a baby sometimes. What the heck?
I am a 36-year-old man child.
Right. And so, yeah, just, I think expectations, like getting those nailed down and then being adaptable, because expectations are going to change too. You are going to change. And if you don't change, again, why are you in this relationship? Like you're not growing as a person. You're just staying
Bingo.
stagnant. Like that's not good.
Yeah.
And that's a big one too. Like the whole growing together while improving together.
Oh, pushing each other. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
Oh,
to
for
be
sure.
better, whatever it is. Like
Whatever it is. Like even if you
she
don't think that, like it's not something that you want to be better at, but you know that this is going to make them better. Like, okay, be that for them, you know?
she doesn't like it when I call her out sometimes.
Oh.
But I'll be like, no, like you should do this. And she'll like, no, like
See the hamster wheel start to turn
Yeah.
a little
and then,
bit.
like,
Mhm.
yeah, she's like,
Yeah.
oh no, I do need to work on that or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. Like, again, for me, the main thing was like, I'm super emotional. So I seemingly was like, oh, I'm the more emotionally intelligent because he, you know, like he said, like, I don't talk about my feelings, whatever. And I've helped him get out of his shell in that regard.
Mhm.
But he's also helped me realize just because you're emotional doesn't mean you're emotionally intelligent. Like those don't always coincide.
Yeah.
And so I remembered like a couple months ago or whenever it was where I was like, since when did you get more emotionally intelligent than me? Because you like pointed something out and was like, you're not actually listening or whatever it was. Like, I can't remember, but I was just like, oh shoot, calling me out.
Well, at least you have like the humility. Both of you have the humility to take what each other are saying into like to heart and actually think about it, not act
Mhm.
upon like anger or some sort of emotion, sadness,
Yeah.
whatever, sorrow, guilt, whatever it is, you know.
For the most
Yeah.
part, I'm not going to say we're perfect.
I
'cause
was gonna say,
Well, everybody's
right.
guilty of it.
We
though.
definitely
Exactly.
do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want people
Yeah.
listening like, oh, these people have it down. They're
No,
the perfect marriage.
Definitely not. But even if you do act out, it's like being able to reflect internally and be like, was that warranted? Like me being emotional or like getting upset. And then if you go and look inside and you're like, yeah, actually like he was in the wrong or she was in the wrong, then you go and you talk about it. And
Yeah.
then you,
Productively.
right. Yes. Right. Not just like calling them out and like you actually go and rationally talk it out and for the purpose of not being right, but for bringing you together, like amending what's wrong. But then there's sometimes where I like look internally, I'm like, no, that was definitely me just acting out. Like that wasn't warranted. I
Yeah.
shouldn't have done that. And then, that's when it goes back to being humble, which you are way better than me at. But like, going and apologizing and
You're a professional fighter. You're You don't have to be humble.
Well, that's the thing, though. I think
Yeah.
that's important to
You're-
point it out is like both of your careers are predicated off of fighting something to win,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because the consequences of losing, well, possibly fatal for you
Yeah.
and possibly losing your title for you.
Right. And I mean, boxing
Yeah.
is,
We saw a person die in the
we
ring.
did see someone die in the ring. Yeah. Yeah. Not as risky as yours, but yeah, for sure. I mean, the risk, is high in relative for both, but high in both for sure.
Yeah. But to take that whole fighter's mentality, whether it's in fire or actual fighting, it's like typically, and I'm guilty of this, is when I take an argument, I've been very reflective as how if I get into an argument, it doesn't matter who it is, I try to not fight to win, because you say some stupid shit when your sole purpose is to win an
Yes.
argument.
Oh yeah.
It is so
Yes.
fucking dumb.
Yes.
Yeah. So
100%. Yeah. And so I think for us, like, it's interesting because we are personality wise are very different, but at the same time, because of what you just pointed out, the dynamic of our professions, we both are type A in a way.
Mhm.
Like, there are times, like I said, personalities were different, but we both have to be a little bit type A.
Yeah.
And so that can make the conflicts interesting sometimes, even though he is quieter than me. Like, he's still very
We argue about
passionate and
not arguing sometimes. She'll just be like, I want you to yell at me. I'm just like, why?
and he's just being like super rational. I'm like,
the
Just-
stoic.
yeah. And it's not,
Not
like
even
he's
stoic.
not,
I'm just
he's
like,
not talk. He's
there's
not
nothing-
talking, but
like, I'm not angry. Like, we're just having a disagreement. I
right.
don't need to raise my voice.
But again,
It's-
it's that it goes back to, okay, is this warranted? Is this behavior warranted? Because there's sometimes where, like, if you have arguments that are a little bit heated, that's not bad.
It's normal.
Yeah.
It's completely normal and healthy. And like, you do need to get those emotions out again, healthily, like you said, not to win, just to, hey, this is how I'm feeling. Like, let me just get this off my chest, not saying something that's going to hurt or that's derogatory or defaming the other person. Like, you're just talking about whatever is bothering you. But I have to also like look back and be like, okay, this is, my parents love each other, but I was definitely, I mean, like, so much, but I was raised in a house where they had some knockdown dragouts, and my mom had me at 21. So I kind of grew up with them. Like, they were kids having a kid. And so I got to see a lot of altercations but I always got to see the resolution. It was beautiful. Like, they always made sure that I saw them make amends and conflict resolution and restore what was going on. But for him, you also saw some arguments, but that turned him off from arguing. So that was it goes back to just, okay, let's talk about how were you raised? What are your expectations for even arguments? Do you want to just like sweep it under the rug? Do you want to like be
That
apart?
shit festers if you do that. though.
100%, 100%. But like, what are your expectations? Is that what you would think is going to happen? And for me,
it was so weird for me when she like wanted to fight.
right. Yeah. For me, I'm like,
I was
we
just
need,
like-
we need to handle this right
You're like,
now.
what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
But then I had to know, like, sometimes that's not the best option because
Mhm.
of what you said before. Like, am I fighting to just win? Because sometimes in the moment that, everyone goes through that where it's like, no, I'm just so mad. No, sometimes you just need to chill
Yeah.
and just
Take
not-
fucking 10, think about what you're about to say, and then come at it
Right.
calm.
Yeah. But growing up, my parents probably did that. But looking back, I'm like, oh no, they handled things right then and there all the time. That's not true for sure.
No.
Like, they've been married for almost 30 years, I think now. And so it's like, that's not how you get to 30 years of marriage. I'm just like, all the time, let's just freaking duke it out. But coming into with Chase, it's like, okay, but also you can't be scared of conflict. Not that you were scared, but
Avoiding.
avoiding it.
Someone's
Yeah.
probably going to bring it up because you're a boxer and I'm scared and I don't want to get hit, blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah, everybody's
someone's
like,
gonna listen
I
to
bet
that
you
and
just
think-
avoid conflict with her all the
Yeah,
time.
She does not beat on me. Okay, most of the time she doesn't. I will put the pad on sometimes and let her.
So
Yeah.
only in the context of training
Yeah.
is there ever any of that.
No, we did do some traded body shots in the kitchen one time for fun.
I bet alcohol had to been involved with that. No, just sober. Just trading body shots.
Yes. Sometimes Chase is like, "Can I take it?"
I can't.
No, it hurt. Body shots fucking suck, dude.
They're horrible.
Oh my god.
Coming from a fighter, they're horrible.
Yeah.
Oh geez.
What is like yeah. Oh.
Nope.
God,
also,
man.
if anyone listening is interested in joining Folsom Lake Veterans Crew,
shameless plug
you don't want to lose any gear or lose any stupid flips because it could involve some body shots.
Poor Braxton.
Ooh,
yes. That happened this season.
Ooh,
yep. Yeah. Lost some. But he had the option of choosing to either make Chase breakfast or put the body pad on and let me see if he could last 30 seconds with me just hitting him.
Yeah.
He did not last.
He lasted 15 seconds.
Straight to the ground.
There is video.
Dude, yeah. When you take a body shot, like a solid body shot, because I used to do Muay Thai, so I'd get fed knees. Or
I was about to say,
we'll show you the video later.
Oh yeah, because he had the body pad on, like he had padding on.
Oh yeah, even with pads, it still sucks.
It's horrible.
She's
it's
lifting
a
me
false
off the
sense
ground.
of hope.
Oh yeah,
straight up.
It's a false sense of hope. They still hurt.
Oh yeah, those things, man.
There's no security there.
Like you know how you have to like breathe out when you know you're gonna get hit. You have to breathe, right?
Yeah. Tense,
because if you don't tense and if you don't breathe properly when you're getting hit, even if you're holding fucking pads, man, you're going to get gassed in a second or you're going to get injured, like actually injured.
Injured. Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
If you don't know how to hold the pads right, you may get hit in the face.
Yep.
It may happen multiple times. There may be blood drawn.
Yep.
Yep. Every time.
Might have happened a couple times with Chase.
Holding pads.
It's fine. Yes.
I'm not a fighter. Never done it.
No one likes getting punched in the face, dude.
That's Samantha.
Yeah, that's my
She's
thing.
also just too fast for me. I just can't keep up. Like,
yeah, that's also a thing.
Well, I think that holding pads, I mean, there's a skill level involved with that where
it's an art.
It's an art.
And you
like
have
people
to
that
have
are dialed
chemistry with
your fighter.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so when I am doing mitts with people, like other coaches, there is a couple rounds where we're just getting to know one another.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not talking, but like, yeah, you're getting to know the distance. Okay. What's the timing? Cause people even hold pads different. Like there's definitely a right and a wrong way to hold pads, but like
different styles, like Muay Thai pads are like this. They're like go over your entire wrist, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And, or like, and what I mean by styles for boxing, cause you don't want the pads to be way far in any fighting style.
You're going to catch a hook.
Right. No. And because you want it to be a mimic of this is my opponent. So you want him to get like as close to the face as possible so you can be straight. But some people holding pads will go 1-2, like 1-2 on different pads.
Mm-hmm.
Some people do the 1-2 on one pad because it's like more of a smaller target. You just never know.
And then it fires a southpaw or the pad holder's a southpaw.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so and like, do you, like, where do you throw your hook? Do you throw it higher? Or are we going to the body? You know, you just never know. People call them different names. Like, what is your 3-4? What is your 5-6? Do you even do a 5? You know, do you do
5
numbers?
and 6 is left and right knee, or left and right knee.
I was
no
gonna
elbows
say,
for me.
and that is not for me. That's uppercuts right there.
Yeah.
So, and I don't even do numbers. I've been boxing almost 16 years now. So like, I know the numbers, but like, once you get to a certain point, like you don't need that. You just kind of go with feel, which is also why you need to get to know your mitt person, because it's a chemistry there.
100%.
It's a feel, like, you know, the person, you know what their combo they're going to throw and stuff, or want you to throw. But yeah, it is definitely a lot more difficult than just like, oh, we've been dating for years, so like you definitely can hold pads.
Oh, yeah.
No,
It doesn't work like that.
No.
Or it's like even light sparring or anything like that. I mean,
we've sparred too.
Yeah. Well, we tried
Yeah.
just body sparring. We thought that was going to be safe.
No,
It wasn't.
No.
No.
She started off letting me hit her.
This was back when we were dating. Very immature.
And then
Hadn't grown a lot.
Yeah. She came back. Samantha is very heavy handed. I was just like, okay.
3 KOs. I mean,
I was like,
I've never been hit by myself. I don't know.
I know you don't.
Punch yourself in the face now.
I was like, okay, I'm good. Like, that's enough. She's like, no, I barely hit you. I was like, no, like you hit me hard. That hurt. She's like, no, like you're being a pussy. Like
That is not what I said.
you did. I swear.
Oh
you
my
said
gosh,
that.
you're lying on me.
Oh,
Oh man, but it's kind of cool. I don't know. I find enjoyment in like sparring. I mean, sparring is sparring, except for Captain Heavy Hands over here. Might
Yeah.
not be so fun
Oops.
with her, but boxing is totally different. Like,
Yeah.
I think that like the whole self-control thing is very important in that when you're sparring, because a good trainer or a
Right.
good coach, they'll match your tempo and your power, right?
Yes.
So-
Yes. Right.
Like learning that's you have to learn how to control yourself and know what the expectations are of your sparring partner, your whoever's holding pads for you or whatever.
I was laughing because of your last fight.
I knew that's why.
This is my first time in the corner. I didn't do anything, but
You didn't have to.
yeah, didn't have to. So her coach is like, hey, like just cruise through this first round. Just take it easy. Cruise. She looks at us dead in the eyes.
In the middle of the
You
round.
can hear it in the
In the middle
video,
of the
in the
round.
middle of the round. And she like shakes her head. She's like, yeah, okay. Literally the next combo.
Like 15 seconds later, I
chick
knocked the girl
is
out.
knocked out. We're just like, what?
And I'm like, wait, what?
What the hell, man?
I'm like,
Calm down, Tyson.
Yeah.
I'm like, I did dial it back. You're like, not enough.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, well. But it's a skill that I'm learning I need to have, knowing like control, because it's
Mhm.
about control. It's not about like going lighter or like coddling your opponent or carrying them per se,
Mhm.
but it's like there's a time to set up things.
Oh yeah.
And it's not like not all knockouts come by just throwing haymakers the entire time, you know?
It could be a mistake. It could be good timing. It could be good footwork too. Even
Yes.
feigning.
And then when you get to, if that's all your mentality, when you get to somebody that knows what they're doing and you throw the haymaker, they're going to knock you out
Yeah.
or potentially could.
You're
And
wide
s-
open when you throw a haymaker. I mean.
Exactly. And so, and that's not what I was doing, but even like throwing good punches, but they're all hard. What if you get with a person that can withstand your power, or they're blocking all your shots and you've just thrown
And you're gassed.
complete power shots the whole time. You have nothing left. I've seen that. I've experienced that. Luckily, I have still won and been on the, winning side and gotten the knockouts and stuff from that. But I've experienced like a little bit of that. And I had 50 amateur fights. So I've had a lot of fights to
Mhm.
experience a lot of different things to go on in the ring. Cause it's all unpredictable and you try to prepare as much as possible.
Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the
Oh,
face, right?
100%,
Speaking
100%.
of Tyson.
Yes,
Yep.
right. Great quote and definitely applicable in every single fight. But what I'm learning as a pro now is, okay, now I actually do need some control. Like I need to set up that punch. Amateur, it was balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Every round, it's punches and bunches. And yeah, there would be some stoppages. There's not a lot of knockouts because as a female, at least we still wear the headgear
Mhm.
and stuff. Like there
Heavier weight gloves, probably.
heavier
Yeah.
gloves, more padding in the front.
Mhm.
Whereas as a professional, there a lot of the padding's on the wrist.
Mhm.
So
It's-
you can feel
yeah.
everything.
The padding's on the wrist is because you're guarding yourself. It's so you don't
Yep.
break your wrist or like
Exactly.
injure yourself, right? But
Yep.
yeah,
Not a ton
on
your
the knuckles. They're a hell of a lot lighter too.
Yes.
What are you guys fighting with? 8 ounce, 10 ounce?
Eight
Ace?
ounce. Yeah.
They're like
Um,
mittens.
The heavier
They're
weight
so
classes
small.
are 10 ounce, but my weight class is 8.
It's like tiny.
Yeah.
Might as well
but
be
They're
using
tiny.
it.
They're tiny on her.
Oh,
like
they're
when we
so
first,
tiny.
when I
Yeah.
first
They're
saw
like
the 8
mittens,
I was
literally.
like,
And you're a tiny human to begin with. Like,
Yeah.
like it's not like you're 7 feet tall or
Right,
anything like that.
right.
But yeah,
it
Yeah.
was
No,
wild.
they're
I
small.
was just like, you're gonna like punch someone with you're gonna kill someone.
you're gonna knock teeth
Right.
out
So
if their mouth
amateur,
guard
it was
falls
12
out.
ounce. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, it was a lot different even than I realized it would be. Because obviously you're going to know, like, okay, you're bumping up to the pros. It's going to be different, different challenges. And you have to learn the different style because styles make fights and stuff. But yeah, amateur, it was like, just throw as
Just
much
kill.
as possible.
Get in there and kill.
Kill. And all I would see was red. And just like, okay, I'm going. And then now as a pro, I have not learned this at all. I'm saying this as I am literally still struggling, obviously from last fight, but okay, pace, calm down. literally a couple weeks ago in one of my sparring sessions, my sparring partner was like, "You were super patient today." And I'm like, no one has ever told me that. I received that entire compliment. And so anyways, all that to say, I'm trying to now apply that to my fights. So we'll see how these fights coming up go. Because we've got a couple for the remainder of the year, which is cool.
Yeah. You've 4 more fights, right?
So we have
3?
3 scheduled, 2 this month and then 1 in December. And then, well, we have 4 scheduled, but not the 4th one is in January. So the beginning of next year. But yeah, just all in the same like
rapid
cluster
succession
of months. Yeah. So yeah, that's super exciting and wild because I went the entire year without fighting at all. Like I fought in January and then I was like, well,
there were some issues like with that last,
issues.
yeah, we talked about that.
And that's another thing that you don't think about. Like amateur, yes, I did have to, there was financial struggle because you had to pay for all the tournaments and stuff and the travel. And you would get sponsors and you would try to and raise money. And then once you made Team USA, they would cover most of the expenses, but even still sometimes they would only give you like a certain amount of per diem per day, which you experience, like still having to pay out of pocket with whatever per diem they give you or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But they would cover a lot of the expenses. So, but getting to Team USA, like that was a whole thing. The tournaments would be like a pretty frequent throughout the year. So you'd have to know, okay, this is what I'm budgeting for the year. But you knew these tournaments are on the schedule. I'm going to fight for sure. And yeah, sometimes fights would fall through, but if you go to a tournament, you've got 16 girls in your weight class or whatever, 32, however, because there could be big weight classes.
It's basically like a Shark Tank. You have to like beat your way through the entire line.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the Olympic qualifier for the trials, I had to fight 5 days in a row, weigh in every single day.
Oh, fuck.
It was wild, the craziest experience. But all that to say, I knew when I was going to fight, basically. But then now as a pro, it's like, okay, I have to contact these promoters. Chase is my interim manager right now. So Chase does, which there's a shameless plug. If you're a manager and you are looking for a female to sign, I'm in the market for a manager. But anyways, I'm still 4-0. So I'm still new in my career and just building my team as I build my record. But so anyways, Chase try to contact the promoters, the matchmakers. Okay, can we get on the show? What is the fee to get on the show? What is the opponent fee? Because like there's a fee to get on the card and then there's a fee for the opponent. And then there's the fee to get there. Like, are you going to pay me in ticket sales? Will I make any money back? Like there's just so many negotiations and it's wild. Like I knew that there was that corrupt side of boxing on the business side.
Definitely seen that.
Right. For sure.
A lot of fighters experience it. Yeah.
But I didn't know like the magnitude, I guess, of it. And like there definitely, I knew there were slimy people and stuff, but you just don't know like
dunking.
Right. I guess he's like the poster child for that.
Yeah.
But it's just like, you don't realize like how much greed and where is the greed? Like it's so interesting. So we were talking about that fight in March that fell through. Like that was one of the things that I had experienced, people not showing up for fights or like not making weight or whatever. But like to experience it on the pro level when you are expecting, like you're expecting
a professionalism.
Yes, you're holding those people to a higher standard because we are professionals. Like, why are we not acting like it?
That's like Chase showing up to the base like beginning of the year as a squatty and being a complete shit show. Like you just don't fucking do that, man.
Right. Exactly. And so that has been an interesting thing. And then now fighting we've only had one fight on the South American circuit, but like seeing that side of things where it's like, no, these people just want to fight. Like where does you are going to fight.
It's a ticket out too.
Yeah.
In like some of those areas. I mean,
100%.
Oh yeah.
And
it's no different than Thailand. Like a lot of people like go to the training camps and become Muay Thai fighters because it is a ticket to somewhere better.
What are you fighting for? And so in America, a lot, not that they're not fighting for money. there, but it's money for a reason. Like, because like you said, to take it out or like to be better for my family and like give them a better life or whatever. And so here it's a lot of greed. And it's just like, oh, I'm just going to try to get as much money as possible. It's like, well, why can't you just be okay with,
Why can't you not be a buddy fucker? Like, how do you not be a buddy fucker? Like, try that. Let's start there.
Like, I thought that we were fighters. Like, I thought we just wanted to fight. Anyways, so that's been frustrating to experience that, but then also just a learning experience. Cause it's like, okay, this is how it is. This is the profession I've chosen. And I feel a call to do it. Like, I feel so much joy when I'm fighting, which is so weird to say. Like, literally when I'm just beating the dog shit out of someone, I'm just like, okay, this is where I feel.
Apparently Sammy woke up today and chose violence.
And I normally do.
Every day.
Every day. Cause there's just like no other words to describe what I do sometimes. But when I'm like in that space, I feel at home. And it's not always is it me beating the other person up, but it's just like being in that realm, being with another like person who you are mutually respecting, because it takes guts to even step in the ring. Like, it's just such a beautiful experience. And so I know like that is what I've been called to do. And so now I'm learning like, okay, because this is what I've chosen and this is where I find joy, this is what I'm going to have to deal with. And then just learning how to navigate it. Like, you're not going to be okay with it because it still sucks. It's just like what you have to deal with. Like, there's some BS that you have to navigate for sure. Like, a lot. And so you're going to find that everywhere. And it's just about learning how to like cope with it, I guess. And like grow from the experiences. Like, back in March, that was horrific. Like, it was horrible.
Yeah. It's not like you're getting your fucking money back. I mean,
no.
Yeah.
And that, I'm sure that even, I know that it happens even at the bigger levels. Like, I've seen it happen. There's more money at the bigger levels, so you might get compensated a little bit more. I don't know. We're not there yet, but it still happens. So I had to learn, and it was a lot harder mentally on me than what I even realized, because I felt like the sport that I love kind of like let me down in that way. Like, I didn't want to go back into a training camp because of like, well, am I just doing this for nothing? You know?
Yeah.
So it was hard to, get back into that headspace to be okay with going through the grueling weeks that it takes to get ready for a fight. But it's like, okay, I just need to know that this is a possibility. And that's not why I fight. I fight so that I can have a bigger platform to share my story. Like, I feel like we have a beautiful story, and like the Lord has given us that. And so that I want to be a good steward of what he's given us. And so that's why I fight. Like, I fight because Jesus has given me a talent, not on accident. Like, there's a reason why you are good at what you do. There's a reason why, I have this inside of me. And I believe that for anyone, like, we need to be good stewards of what we've been given.
Oh yeah.
And so like, that's what I have been given. And so I want to, be able to do that. And with anything, you just have to deal with, like, wade through the crap,
Yeah. Wading through the crap.
Yep.
You know all about that one.
Literal crap sometimes, I guess.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Speaking of which, I remember that. Speaking of literal crap, I remember there was a fire here locally in the middle of fucking winter. It was like February, right? And it was a lot of horses, a lot of cows, a lot of cattle in the area, and we're just sitting there mopping up shit, literal shit, like horse shit.
Man, yep.
Yeah. But
sure.
no, I think it's cool because you got the support system, and you guys both support each other so well and make each other's dreams come to a reality, and like you enable each other to be your best humans, right? Because there's no such thing as a 100%. Well, there's no such thing as a 50% relationship, right?
Right.
And even more so, a good friend of mine who I'm not going to name, but they said that relationship's a good one. It's not give and take, it's give and receive.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you guys
That's
do that
beautiful.
for each other too. So
yeah. You made a post after, I think, my fight in January, and it was really beautiful and kind of made me tear up. But it was you explaining how, like it's scary to watch someone. I mean, it's scary for me I don't watch him go into fire, but like I know, but he literally watches me go into a fire, like go into a
It's
fight,
terrifying.
and
I can
part
imagine,
of,
man. Yeah.
and I don't view it that way. I'm like, what? I don't,
This is
I'm
my
not
job.
scared.
That's your-
Yeah, right. But same thing with him. Like he's not scared.
Yeah.
And maybe you are a little nervous sometimes or whatever, but like, you know what you've done to prepare and like what you're capable of. And same thing with me. Like I'd never scared before a fight. And it's a confidence in what I can do and a respect for what they can do, but knowing that I've prepared enough. And so after that fight, I got to see that side of things, like, oh wow, like he gets nervous for me and like see his reaction and
It
his
went
response.
past the first round finally.
Right. That was my one fight
Finally.
that's been past the
So,
first round. So it was interesting. I did get hit for the first time.
Yeah.
So
And that's all I saw was
Yeah.
her getting hit.
right.
And
So
like-
he watches the fight back and he's like,
No.
oh wow, you actually did win. I'm like,
No,
Yes,
no. Like I
I
knew
did.
she won, but like after I was like, oh, like it was a little closer than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
and then he watches it back and he's like, oh wait, no, it wasn't.
She was like, I beat the brakes off of her. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. If you say like, yeah, you're the fighter, like you probably think that you won, yeah. It was
And
That
you're
is
just
true. That is
Being
true.
protective.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
But
that's
then
got to be hard.
We go back and watch the fight, and like we're just like on the couch chilling. Like she's next to me, and I was like, oh, you did beat the brakes off of her. Like,
Well, it's like you're in the moment.
Yeah, in that moment, like
Yeah.
that's all I saw was her getting hit.
Yeah.
like-
Right.
Because you don't want to see your
No, you never want to
Your
see your
wife.
loved ones
Yeah.
get
But
hit.
like part of that post was him saying, but who am I to tell her what she's created to do? She can't do. Like, I'm just going to be exactly what she needs for me to be, for her to be the most successful in what she was created to do.
Mhm.
And that's Chase. Like, that's what he embodies in a partner for me. It is literal partnership and like being my teammate and being who I need him to be. And I hope that I can be that for him. But like, that was just such a beautiful post and like concept for me to think about. Like, wow, because for me, I'm like, oh, it's a no brainer. Like, I don't want you to go into fire. But like, for me, I'm like, you don't want me, it's scary for you that I fight. Like, that's just like what I've done for most of my life.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, that's not scary at all. And so, but then to know that that also is a part of his life, it really helped me to feel seen, because I feel that when he's doing fire all the time. But then also to know like, okay, we can lean on each other in that,
Yeah.
because we both experience
we could
it.
rely on each other too.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
I can't
yeah.
sit ringside where she can see me now.
No, I will never look at Chase in the middle of a fight ever again unless I end it in the first round, because he looked terrified. And I was just like, okay, I don't need that in my life. Okay.
Stop being so distracting, Chase.
Sorry, my bad.
Like, because
Who gives a shit, man? He
the
cares.
other fights, he was like, you don't look at me after the fight, because they'd both been over in the first round.
Well, no, not after it's because you have so many fans. You like to you're a crowd pleaser, so you go to all them shaking hands,
I just love
kissing
people.
babies and
I
whatnot.
love people.
So I get overlooked a little bit sometimes,
but not intentionally. Not
Yes,
intentionally.
not intentionally. I know.
Chase is the one that I would want to run to initially, but I do get just bombarded. And that
Well,
was
you got your like photographers, you got the
and that
announcer,
was
you
mainly
got your
because
team and all
we
that
were
shit
close
too.
to my hometown.
Yeah.
And
we were
it's
in
just
my
my
hometown,
personal,
but-
like my personality. Like I'm not gonna. No, that's my wife. Like get out
Right.
of the way.
He's
like,
just gonna
yeah.
hang
it's like,
back and like let me do
Just
Just
my
let the thing unfold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that fight, I was like, I'm gonna like be intentional about looking for him.
Look at him. He's fucking.
Yes.
Looks like he's
He was
just.
about
Looks
to
like he just stabbed a
cry.
kitten in front of him.
distraught.
Just so distraught. I'm like, this boy is about to bust out in tears. Like, I can't know. Like, I'm not gonna do that again. But you also learned
Yes.
I know that you won't react that way. Well, knock on wood. We'll see.
Okay, put the shoes on the other foot though. Now, if you were on the
Right.
same fire,
Right. If I was sitting there watching him fighting, because like I said, I don't watch him fight fire. Like
Yeah.
I don't have to watch him fight fire. I see the videos post when
Mhm.
he's made it through.
it's
that.
already like said and done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, could we show me videos? And he's like, oh yeah, that was super sketchy. And I'm like, I'm glad that you're saying that after. But yeah, I don't
Yeah, that should
have
have.
to.
We could have died.
Yes, I've heard that multiple times, but I don't have to see that. And so
Yeah.
he's sitting there watching me like go into combat. And
Yeah.
so,
It's frame of reference, right?
yeah. It was interesting. Cause I mean, I felt that with my parents, but like or I've heard it with my parents, like, oh yeah, it's interesting. But I'm like, that's my parents. So it's
Yeah.
like, like that's different. And even my mom, she gets more nervous with my brother when cause like I said, he started fighting. So he actually continued to, we both fought alongside each other, which was really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. It was super cool. And so anyways,
Gretchen doesn't get nervous when Samantha fights.
no.
No.
And I think it's just because I'm the
screaming
girl.
at the top of her lungs
Oh, yeah.
on the
Cheerleader.
table.
There is literally
Nice.
a picture from one of my fights where she's got this mean look.
She's got like the neck vein thing going.
She's got
Yeah.
the neck vein and the forehead vein. And then there's a side by side that I created of me giving the same look in the ring, that fight. It's just so cool. But she would get more nervous when Thomas would fight.
Mhm.
And so I didn't really have to experience it so much with my parents, but I did hear like, oh yeah, it can be a little bit nerve wracking or whatever. But then with Chase, I'm like, oh, he is my family now. Like I'm his loved one.
Yes,
Like,
I am.
Click.
like, oh yeah.
Thanks for noticing.
I do
But-
exist.
Right. It's like, oh, he can experience the same level of anxiety.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like frame of reference, I think, 1 and 2. I think it's just, you want to protect your loved ones.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But it's pretty wild, like the journey that you guys do and how you guys empower each other to be like each other's best versions of yourselves, right?
Yeah.
That's something special. And I think a lot of people should take note in that and like really empower whoever it is that they're with to do the same.
I think we both really enjoy, just because we know our firm foundation that we have in our marriage, and
Yeah.
that, like you said from the beginning, like you've been watching us grow and just how we can be that example for others too.
Mhm.
So that
Yeah, I think I always say this, one of the coolest things to me about our relationship is the glow up. Like
The glow up.
how we have grown so much. Like if you would have, looked at even how we got started, it was, that's a whole story, and I think it's a beautiful love story, but it was kind of just, we wanted to just have fun. Like it wasn't to find anything serious. It was just, okay, we're both, early 20s, like you're about to graduate. I think you're hot. Like, let's make out a little bit. Like, let's not end up married. Like, what?
yeah.
And-
Circa 4 years later.
Right.
Mhm.
And so now, like looking back over our relationship and seeing, like, I mean, we've even broken up before and like that didn't last very long, but like we had a clean break and all this, and we've gone through a lot of those things. And so now looking at where we are, and it's so beautiful. And it is, the firm foundation. Like we keep Jesus at the focus and keep each other's needs and wants even above. He does this way better than me, but like above our own, and knowing, keeping each other in consideration instead of like, oh, this is what I want. Cause I definitely can be a little bit more selfish than you, and I apologize, but you're very understanding. But it is just like that, having that dynamic where it's not just me anymore.
Mhm.
And I know that we haven't had kids yet. Like that'll, better than us. Like
Hell yeah. One's
it changes.
One's a party, 2 is a crowd. I can
Yeah,
tell you that.
Right.
So,
Oh, for sure.
But it's great.
And I have a 6-year-old little brother now. My parents started over. So I see that he's very good birth control for us. But I see that, like, how that can add a whole other level of things. But I think that it goes back to, because my parents are the same way, like having that firm foundation. That was a beautiful way of putting it. Like, this is our foundation, our love for one another, but more importantly, our love for God and what he has for us, and pursuing that in over our own things or whatever, like just prioritizing what is the main thing and keeping that the main thing.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing to too. And even for the people that don't have a faith or anything like that, or the people that are not religious at all, I mean, the same values still apply.
Oh,
too.
100%.
So,
Right. Exactly.
yeah, don't
Yes.
pour a shitty foundation or it's going to
Yeah.
fall apart.
same-
Right.
It applies.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very applicable in all areas of life. But yeah, specifically with relationships, it's like, okay, everything houses all of it. If you don't have a firm foundation and you're rocky, it's going to crumble.
Oh yeah.
Like,
don't build that house on a slope. There's a fucking rebar in it, man. Come on, let's go.
Right?
Level that thing out. Let's get it going.
And don't, even if that happens, rebuild. Like, we definitely are like such an example of that because we were, like I just said, we did not build on a firm foundation in the beginning. I mean, as much as we probably, our intention was to do that. And like, maybe we had the heart to do it. We didn't. Like, it was 100%. We didn't. And so we rebuilt, and that's okay. And that's
extensive remodeling.
Yeah. Right. That's not something to be ashamed of. No. Because even old houses, what do you have to do? You have to replace the light fixtures sometimes. You have to put tile in places or like rip up the carpet or whatever.
You sure as hell don't want asbestos walls or lead paint. Yeah. So,
and that's not like, sometimes that like mold and stuff that happens without you didn't mean to do it. Like, you know, it just happens or whatever, like something went on in the climate or whatever. And so same thing with relationships. Sometimes things just, life happens, like things come in that you didn't expect. And like my parents didn't expect to have a 6-year-old at this point in their lives, in their 50s. And so they had to pivot, but they just remodeled that section of their life. And same with, you know, where we're so new still, but like
under construction.
Just like constant. That's okay. Like, I think that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. And it's so
cool. Like owning a home, man. It's like when you own a house, it's like constant. You're like, shit, I gotta fix that. Shit, I gotta. Yeah.
We live in California. We wouldn't know.
We would.
There we go.
Yep. That's 100%.
Oh man. But yeah, building upon those foundations and like constantly like improving yourselves and each other at the same time and empower each other to be best humans. Yeah,
I think that's beautiful too. Like, you're never going to be finished because like that, honestly, it can be kind of a letdown when you do reach a goal. I mean, it can be super awesome, but it's like, okay, what now?
No, it's like Ben Strawn was saying, it's like all of your life experiences are like peaks and valleys. Once you summit Everest, well, what are you going to do next? K2? What are you going to do?
Right. Yeah. And
what's your next peak? You still have to go down and up and up.
After those peaks, you can really get caught in the valley for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And so viewing it as like, okay, in our relationship and even anything, this is applicable for any walk of life. It's like, you're never going to be done. And that's so cool. You can always be improving yourself, and you can maybe even change who you are. Like, you can go in a different direction. Like, you're never going to be the same person. And like I said, like referencing what I said earlier, that you don't want to be.
Like, I wouldn't want to be stagnant.
Yeah. Like if you're in a job where you're not growing and there's no way to grow or like opportunity, why are you in it?
Yeah.
Like, you know, when boxing stops being a place of growth for me, then I'll hang up the gloves. Like, that's just, you're not going to have any purpose or joy in that. So
same thing would be said about fire too.
Right?
Oh yeah.
100%, man.
I mean, yeah, for sure. Hint, wink, wink. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
no,
man.
You love it too much.
Caught the bug.
I did.
Oh, he did.
I got out of fire, went into the firearms industry, got out of that and went back into like the prevention side of fire. So it just keeps like reeling me back in. It just won't take its hooks out of me.
Yeah.
So
I think that's going to be Chase. And that honestly helps me too. Like, knowing how much he loves it. It is so cool to see him step into his purpose as his wife. Like, that is such a beautiful thing for me. And I go back to that all the time because I'm like, you're very sweet. He'll be like, well, I don't have to do this if I'm struggling or whatever. Like, I can find something else. And I'm like, I would never ask you to do that. If you decide that on your own, I will support you. But no, you love it too much. Like, I'm not, just like he said, I'm not going to ask her to not do what she's created to do. I feel the same way about him. So
yeah, we could go into that later. Pay and whatnot. With the job.
Jesus.
I was about to say that. I thought that's where you were headed.
God, the fucking Band-Aids. Come on, Congress. If any congressional member out there is listening to this, which I highly doubt, will you stop putting Band-Aids on this like arterial wound? Right? Like, seriously, just get your head out of your ass and just fix the problem. Simple as that. I mean, it's harder than that, of course.
Yeah,
but they probably know there's idiots like me that'll do the job no matter what for the low pay just because we like it so much.
I know.
It's a hard sell.
Yeah.
But what concerns me the most about this is like folks like you are few and far between. There's like a lot of them out there right now that aren't in it for the paycheck, but how do you attract like new people? How do you continue
Exactly.
that
That's
legacy?
the
That's the
thing.
big thing.
Yes, right. Like acquisition. There's the retention
It's-
issue, but it's like
Mhm.
acquisition too.
It's crazy. Like,
How are you going to sell like your crew to someone
yeah.
when they're getting all of these other opportunities that have way better benefits, way better pay, like
I'm,
Oh, yeah.
I'm helping with the
hours,
hiring
like,
and it's just like,
schedule?
they start asking about like the housing and the pay and stuff. I'm just like,
Don't ask about that.
yeah, you'll find
Just-
out when you get
I was about to
here,
say, just
man.
come on the
Like,
crew and you'll know.
Yeah. But shout out to Pete Dutchick and
Oh,
Folsom, man.
100%.
Dutch also have
Yeah.
a nickname from him as well.
Uh-oh.
What's
Let's hear it.
that one?
Charlemagne.
Oh, that was him?
Yeah, that was Dutch.
Oh,
Yeah.
Indy still uses that one.
Mhm.
That's awesome. But it's like folks like Dutch that are, on the forefront of trying to push that stuff and just
Yes.
like get shit done.
Yes.
Like,
Speaking of fighting, yeah.
Man of the people.
100%. But the
Yes.
last thing that we should be, actually, no, last thing that we should have, and consequently, the first thing that should be a national headline is that there are homeless GWAT veterans living out of their trucks working on crews like yours.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
fucking insane to me.
Yes.
They not only served their country in combat, but also came back to serve their country in a civil servant.
Right.
Feed the fucking guy or girl and put
Mhm.
them like some sort of like housing or
Anything.
decent pay, anything, man. It fucking blows my mind.
It's when I tell people like what some of the guys do on the crew just to make it by,
To get by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're just like, what?
Yeah.
That
What? You're a firefighter and you're having to do that?
Yeah.
Mhm. Choosing whether or not you're going to pay your power bill or your
Yeah.
truck payment versus
No.
eat.
You're right. You're a
Mm-hmm.
forestry technician. You're a glorified landscaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Unskilled labor.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah.
Blows my mind. But yeah, that's a whole other can of worms. And
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't want to get
We could
anybody
go
in trouble.
on
So
and on.
Right.
yeah, I could bitch about that on my soapbox all fucking day, dude. So,
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think we're gonna be rolling it up onto the end of the show here. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to end it on the positivity note there with your guys' story and how you support each other. And I think a lot of lessons could be learned from your guys' stories.
Yeah.
Especially for a lot of people out there that are struggling possibly or
Mhm.
thinking about making that commitment, getting married or starting a new relationship. Shit, even if you're just dating, a lot of lessons could be
Yeah.
learned here. So,
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I hope someone learned something. If
Yeah.
not,
I learned some
Yeah.
things.
Me too.
Even just talking. Like
Yeah.
this has been awesome.
It's cool, man. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's a good opportunity to like let other people know that they're not alone. That's
Yeah.
Yes.
that's like the number one thing that comes from all the guests on the show. So
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah. Everybody is dealing with things in their own way. But like I could get on my
She's already
soapbox
going.
too. But just with what we deal with, there's
Mhm.
so many people that struggle, and just knowing like you're not alone and there are ways to cope. There are like ways to get help, and specifically with like relationships, it's doable. Is it easy? No, but it's worth it. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that's the main thing. It is 100% worth it.
the pride thing, remove your ego.
Yeah.
It's like that
Yeah.
scene from Pulp Fiction. You hear that sound?
Yep.
That's pride fucking with you. Just set the ego and the pride aside and just
Yeah.
like be, real with each other.
Mhm.
Yes. Right.
100%. But end of the show, I always like to give you guys the opportunity to give out shout outs to homies, heroes, mentors. Who do you got?
I think anyone that I've worked with on the crew, definitely hero and mentor, even if they were subordinates, like being a squad leader now, like learning from people below me is super cool. And all the overhead that I've ever worked with on the crew, Pete Dutchick, I won't name names. They probably won't like it. Pride and humility. You know how it is. So
Oh, yeah. The silent professional
Yeah.
shows through.
Yeah.
they know how they are or
Yeah.
who they are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sammy?
My wife.
Aw.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. definitely you're my top. But apart from you, actually, I was just talking to her today. The lady that led me to Christ, her name's Jackie. She might listen to this. I don't know, but she just like really poured into me and was a part of me accepting Christ, which is a pivotal transformational part of my life that gave me the sense of purpose that I have now and really has me where I am today as a professional boxer. And so she's just been super impactful for me. I talked about my parents, like they were very impactful and they're a huge part of my life still. But shout out to my sponsors. Give them some shout
There's
outs.
the plug.
Right. Faster Way to Fat Loss is my nutrition program that I use. I also use them for strength and conditioning. And so if you have any questions about Faster Way, if you need help with weight loss or just it's really helped me. Actually, I struggle with an eating disorder. So it's helped me with that. But shout out to them. CryoLab, they're my place of recovery. So if you're in the El Dorado Hills, foothills area in Northern California, give us a call or stop by. Cryotherapy and Normatec compression. We've got all the things to help you recover. Thank you for supporting always. And yeah, I think that about does it for me.
Hell yeah. And then where can we find you guys on Instagram?
At Sammy_the Heat.
Yeah.
The Heat.
The Heat.
I was going to try and do like a Bruce Buffer impression or like some sort of buffer, but I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Nah. I'll probably get sued.
Yeah, he'll sue you.
Oh, right.
That's the thing.
We just talked about that.
Yeah. C_Worth 27.
And his name is actually Chase now.
It says Chase.
Yeah. It's not. What was it previously?
Chester.
It was
Chester Worthington.
No, it was Chester Whitridge.
Whitridge.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was
See?
Chad at one point.
Whitworth.
Chad
Yeah.
Bro Chill 92.
Yeah.
And then your next fight, when's it going to come up here? It's
November 17th.
November 17th.
So yeah, 2 weeks from yesterday.
Hell yeah. And
Can't
then
wait.
hopefully we can get some photos for you guys and push that stuff out there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
For fuck's sake, man. Videos of the fight. I know it's hard. I know it's hard.
Well,
But
last fight, the venue got flooded and
Mhm.
it was just a whole thing.
Yeah.
This fight, the show's going to be bigger. So like, I think the resources are better and, they have more. So I hope that it'll be live streamed. If not, there'll be a video for sure. Like he's going to record
Yes.
it.
Cool. Well, good luck on your endeavors in Columbia here shortly.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
yeah, good luck on the next season too, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations
Thanks.
on the promotion.
Thank you.
All right. Chase, Sammy, thank you guys for being on the show.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Peace. And boom, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of the Anchor Point Podcast is in the books with my two good friends, Chase and Sammy Worthington. So if you want to learn more about the Folsom Lake Veterans Crew and that shameless plug there in the episode, well, go over to Instagram and check out the Folsom Lake Veterans Crew. And if you want to hit up Chase and get some more information about that crew, well, by all means, hit him up. And also definitely go hit up and follow Sammy. Her boxing career is on a meteoric rise, and she just did a little brief stint down in South America and then came back, and she is now the women's WBO super lightweight champion of the world. So shout out to Sammy. Sammy, you've been throwing them hands and you've been crushing it, and I cannot wait to see what the future has in store for both of you. It's an awesome story. I love when these two people come together and they're so supportive of each other, and they are absolutely crushing it in life. So keep it up. So for all those that are out there listening to this episode, I hope that everybody got something very valuable out of it. And I hope that they go back and listen to it again, just in case there was something that was missed, or you might catch something new. Who knows? But shout out to Chase and Sammy Worthington. You guys are awesome, and way to crush it on the Hidden Valley Hammer this year. Yeah, I know it was a little while ago, but I still had to take a little break, unfortunately. And we had some issues with production this year with the back end of producing these episodes. But that's for a later conversation. If you want to know more about it, just hit me up in the DMs. Anyways, so the rest of you, I hope you're ready for the upcoming 2024 wildfire season. And I hope that you're in shape and staying sane out there. So thanks once again for tuning in. Special shout out to our sponsors. We got Mystery Ranch, purveyors of the finest damn Wildland fire packs in the game, and a ton of other load-bearing essentials. If you want to go find out more, or find out more about the Mystery Ranch Backbone Series scholarships, go over to www.mysteryranch.com and check them out. We got Hot Shot Brewery, kick-ass coffee for a kick-ass cause, and a portion of the proceeds will always go back to the Wildland Firefighter Foundation.
go over to www.hotshotbrewing.com and find out more. We also got, last but not least, we've got the AWE, aka the American Wildfire Experience. Go over to www.wildfireexperience.org to find out more. Bethany, you have a kick-ass organization over there? Keep it up. As the rest of you, y'all know the drill. Stay safe, stay savage. Peace.